Hello, everybody, and welcome to Four and Goal. And thank you for joining us today for the Sunday show. It's a beautiful winter's day. Unfortunately, we don't have Nabil Islam with us today. So as you can see, in his place, we have the illustrious, the cricket expert, Michael Andrews. Mandrews95. How you doing, mate?
I'm right, so are you?
Enjoying the T20?
I love it. There's nothing more I enjoy to watch than the good old
Great
T20.
Surprised with the price you went from watching the TV, mate. We've been watching it the entire time it's been on. We didn't think we could get you on the show because you were just so busy watching it.
So busy watching it. My schedule's too much.
No, it's great to have you on the show, Mike. And of course, we have our regular hosts, Adam and Gary. How are you both?
Yeah, I'm all right. Living the dream.
Good
Living the
stuff.
dream. How about you, Gary?
Absolutely superb,
Great
mate.
stuff. And we have a slightly
Superb.
different format coming to you today. We're only going to cover 3 sports. We're going to go into a little bit more detail. And that's going to be football,
Discovered.
NBA,
sports.
and NFL. So perhaps we'll kick things off with the football. We have a
not?
United fan here, so maybe, Mike, we can talk about United at the moment.
You can talk about
Yeah, the
United if
floor's
you
yours.
want. I don't know, the typical losing to Sheffield United on Wednesday is just typical United. They build like a run of good games and then lose to the team that they should beat. And that's why when people go, oh, they're challenging for a title, and then you see City go and smash, say, someone 5-0 or whatever, then we go and lose to Sheffield, you just think, well, that's why we'll never be ready for a title at the moment. And I just think, I don't blame Ollie for that, it's just very odd.
It's about consistently beating teams in the league, isn't it, really?
Well, yeah, like FA Cup, we beat Liverpool. I'll rub that in a little bit more because we've got 2 Liverpool fans. I don't know if you watched that, but I don't know if you're in the next round of the FA Cup.
Not that I'm aware of. I don't see our name in the next.
If I'm going to be honest, I'd have rather have lost to you in the FA Cup because I think we'd just get knocked out by some shit championship
I
team.
don't know.
And then
West Ham in the next round.
You got that spot on.
and beaten Sheffield. I'd rather have beaten Sheffield than lost to you at the FA Cup personally, but
Yeah, but after today's show against Liverpool, I wouldn't be worried too much. We get scared when we play anyone in top 6.
I mean, if you look at like
Do you think you can win the title, Mike?
well, no.
the only team that's come close to Man City's form, the only team that's come close to City's form is West Ham. Like, I don't know how many games they've won in a row now, City, but I can't see anyone catching them personally.
They've won 12 in all competitions.
No, because they started poorly, City, but they seem to have just come back into their own again, which is a bit annoying.
Hey, that Liverpool.
Stones back in that starting 11. They've looked
I know.
unbeatable again. And I'm not saying it's all down to Stones because obviously it's not, but he does look world
Pep
class
said he
again.
made some tactical changes. I don't know what exactly. Maybe it involves Stones, but something's working.
Saying that, Liverpool did look good today. I know it's only West Ham, but we are up in 5th and we have won our last 6. But you did look good. The way you sorted out your midfield, even though you're half your midfield with injuries, you look good. You knew how to pressure it. And you've changed your system slightly, and it worked. I know. Again, you might say it's only West Ham, but we are 5th in the league, so we're not any pushovers. But you just controlled the game today. And if you can do that against every team, then I don't see no reason you can't push it to the last day of the season. But I don't know if you'll win it, but you can
It's
definitely
nice
be
to
up
see
there.
us counter-attacking again. I mean, that used to be like our bread and butter, but we haven't seemed to have done that in a while.
Counter at second.
The only thing I didn't like today was Divock Origi.
Yeah.
Like, I just still don't get what he's meant to bring to a football
Yeah.
pitch. Like, he was just shooting from stupid angles, and then every counter we did have that went to him, he's like, nope, I'll stop it.
He still,
and,
he
we'll
still
play
deserves
back.
a statue, though, right?
Yeah.
For those
I mean, he
two
does seem
games.
to score. He seems to score important goals
Exactly.
for you guys.
He hasn't done in a while, to be fair, but yeah.
Yeah, the last time he scored important goals was probably the first game of last season against Norwich, when he got 2. And all of a sudden we were like, hang on, he's just won us the Champions League, 2 goals on the opening day. This guy's going to be the real deal, and then he's done nothing since.
I didn't realise.
Like, against Burnley, he should have buried that one-on-one chance, and we might.
It was
not
a tight angle, to be fair.
Well, against Burnley?
Oh, sorry, if we talk about today. Sorry if we talk about...
No, against Burnley, he had the one-on-one,
Yeah.
like, whole goal to aim at, and he hit the crossbar.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't think he'll have a career at Liverpool past this season. But we did look really good
Yeah.
today.
I did.
Yeah, you did look good.
And Thursday as well.
We
Both
played
Tottenham
you
and
at
West
the
Ham
wrong
are
time.
lucky.
I mean, today we played you today, and you look like you've just found your form again, which is unfortunate for us because we played you 2 games ago. It might have been alright, but I think that win against Spurs gave you a lot of confidence. And today it just showed really. We looked a bit too nervous. We could have taken the game 2 more, but that's a Liverpool performance from last season. Just knowing how to be clinical. The counter attack, your second goal was just ridiculous. Nothing we could do. Just absolutely just brutal counter attack, and that's what you should be doing half the season. It's just unfortunate you did it against us.
I agree with you. I'm surprised West Ham didn't go for it a bit more because they've been in such good form.
Yeah.
Um,
A lot of people on Twitter are saying it's disappointing. It is really disappointing we didn't play against you like we had been playing most of the season. I think we were just a bit nervous, really. I think we know where we are in the league, and I think the players are a bit too aware of it. We could have passed more, but I think the crux of it is we knew within 10 minutes you'd absolutely controlled that midfield. There's nothing we could do. Like you had like Milner, Wyndham were just absolutely bossing it in there, and Thiago as well. He's been a bit of a prick, I have to admit, but again, you're just bossing midfield, and those are 3 world-class players. There's nothing we could do. So I think that you could definitely tell. I don't know if you'll win the league, but you can definitely push for it still. There's nothing to say. You have that form in you.
What surprised me a few times as well was West Ham playing short on the set pieces.
Yeah, that
like
was
in the first half, like 60 minutes. Like they
you
should be putting them in the box. We haven't got like a proper set
you should have heard my reaction when we did that. I was very annoyed because we're known for being good at set pieces, and we decide, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to take a short corner. Like it's just completely illogical.
You're still the best club in London, though, as things stand.
Still the best club in London.
Yeah, Tottenham
Currently,
1-0 down against Brighton, which is lovely. I think we can all agree that's nice to see.
No,
it's a great sight.
No one really likes Tottenham fans, apart from Tottenham fans. I actually didn't realise Leeds beat Leicester today either. I just looked at that result now.
Good game, to be fair.
Yeah, but again, this is what we said about Leicester earlier in the season, that they're a one-man team with Vardy. If they don't have Vardy, they can't play their system.
How long's Vardy out for?
Another few weeks. But again, he's getting to that age where he'll be more susceptible to injury. So how long? Same with Kane. Both of Kane's ankles have gone, which is worrying for England. Obviously, coming up to a tournament, I'm not bothered being a West Ham fan, but when teams rely on one player, like Spurs appear to be tonight, Kane to make that system work, they'll struggle.
Agreed.
Yeah, but do you think it would be nice to see England play without Kane up front?
Yeah, I think there's plenty of other strikers in English that could do a job other than Kane. Like Danny Ings, for example, would be nice to see him get a chance in the England team.
Yeah, Calvert-Lewin a better chance.
Can we talk about the Southampton game a little bit? Because I know there was a lot of controversy. I saw the decision. I didn't watch the game live, but it seemed like Southampton were robbed.
What you're talking about, the offside.
Yeah, and the handball decision that wasn't called. Is that right?
I didn't see the handball. I saw the offside.
Yeah, so the handball was in the opening 10 minutes. Southampton worked it down the right, crossed it in, and Matty Cash stopped the ball with his hand. It would have been a goal. Like, it's a daylight goal if he doesn't use his
flick up
hands.
off his knee or something, or his foot?
The slightest deflection off his knee. But his arm was it was as if he was waiting for the ball. Like, his arm was completely stretched out. That's not a natural position.
I mean, we saw that. Remember the Firmino handball against Tottenham? It came off Dyer's arm onto Firmino's. So surely there has to be some consistency.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that was shocking.
Do you think?
That's
the thing, though. If it's an attacking player that handballs it, they get penalised. But these we've seen time and time again, defenders using their hand to defend the ball, and because it's not seen as intentional, they don't get penalised. So now, you're getting penalised more as an attacker for using the same body part as a defender who doesn't get penalised.
I think that's
we saw it last season as well.
And stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You watch an attacker go to win a corner, and if they push someone in the back, it's a foul. But a defender can seem to get away with it a bit more. I always find.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
The goalkeepers as well. When the ball's up high, they can kind of just bundle over you, but if you bundle into them, it's a foul.
Goalkeeper junior, isn't it though?
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. There's just no consistency in rules at all anymore.
Wasn't there a VAR call again today? Was it yesterday? I can't remember. I think it was just one. There's not a week goes by when there's not a stupid VAR call, and just like the offsides are getting so marginal. Like Southampton definitely deserves something out of that game yesterday, and it's just annoying when you see fucking Villa's Twitter celebrating a VAR call at one in their game when weeks ago against West Ham they're moaning about fucking VAR cost us the game, and then a few weeks later they're celebrating a VAR call going their way.
Complete lacking class for that.
Yeah, but also Aston Villa last year only kept stayed up because of a
Yeah,
VAR.
because
Yeah.
they're not at the
Oh.
yeah, exactly. Technology failed then. They're only in the league because technology failed, but they're happy to sit there and take the piss up
No,
their
but,
club.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think with
Sorry.
VAR though, for teams they have to just accept that it's going to go both ways. You're going to get ones that go with you.
But then what's the point of it? Because we had that with
Well,
refereeing
no, I agree.
before. Yeah, we have referees before. It's like, oh, sometimes it go in your favour, sometimes it won't. But VAR is doing exactly the same as the refereeing decisions did before.
Yeah.
You might as well not have it and then just say, well, it comes down to law of averages.
I'd love to understand their thought process for some of these decisions, but
Oh, 100%.
there was that.
Sorry, Harry, if you're listening. I know you're a Villa fan, mate. I know you're passionate about that, but
We love Aston Villa, really.
You know, no, we don't. I don't.
They're quickly
I
becoming
don't
one of the
know.
most hated tin pot clubs. Like going.
What was
like,
that? Can you say that again, go?
There's such a small. They're becoming one of the most hated tin pot clubs going.
Not above Chelsea. I still hate Chelsea more.
Yeah, I think I prefer Chelsea to Villa at the moment, to be honest. There was quite an exciting game on BBC, surprisingly, Fulham against West Brom. I had it on in the background, and I thought this is going to be a snooze fest, but it was actually quite good. It was a 2-2 in the end.
Versus
But
relegation.
Fulham actually looked like they had some fight in them, and I'm hoping they do manage to stay up because I think we all like Scott Parker as a manager.
I like Scott Parker. I'd like him to manage West Ham one day. He seems like a good manager so far. The system he's trying to play. We're playing next week, I think. I'm a bit nervous for that game, but
He's very lucky though that he's got an owner that's not an owner that just sacks managers.
yeah.
If that makes sense, like because obviously he went down with them in the Premier League. I know they came straight back up, but
He's got a manager. Yeah, I don't know if their chairman's too interested in. I can't remember what's his name now. Their chairman is up.
It's Saint Khan, isn't he? He's the guy who runs the Jaguars and wanted to buy Wembley, isn't it?
I think he's lost interest, so he's quite lucky that his owner doesn't really matter too much. I think it's proven though that he needs to give manager time, and I think he deserves it. Fulham aren't spending big money, but he's still getting them playing good football. And I think I'd like to see them step above other teams like West Brom and just other pointless teams in this league that really do nothing. Burnley, I'm not too worried about staying. I wouldn't mind them going down, but some teams in this league that just literally have to play such shit football to stay in it. And they're pointing out as West Ham, and I would like to see Fulham stay up, basically.
I think Burnley will be a Stoke. They'll hang around for a while, but eventually they'll go down. Mike, the United game yesterday, do you think that was a fair result? The 0-0 draw? Or?
If I'm going to be honest, I didn't watch it, and I haven't seen any of
fair
it.
enough. I thought you were a United fan.
If I'm going to be honest, I was on that.
No, that's cool.
I know, but I haven't had a chance. I was until 2 o'clock still playing COD this morning, so.
He's got a gaming
It's
channel
true.
side. Do you not know he's got stuff to do?
Yeah.
700 subscribers now, so
Too many balls. Yeah.
no, that's fair enough.
To be honest, I watched most of it, and I thought United were quite unlucky, to be fair.
Wasn't there a couple of dodgy VAR calls in that though? So
I wouldn't say
wasn't there one they couldn't review because the ball didn't go over the line? Was that the United game?
I didn't see that bit. I don't think that did happen. It might have done, but I didn't see that. The biggest chance of the game was Cavani missing an open goal. Yeah, sure, basically goal, and Cavani just running and basically passed it wide. But United had the better chances, but Arsenal are looking okay defensively. David Luiz was very good, to be fair, which you don't say often.
Okay, should we talk about La Liga a little bit? Looking at the table, Atletico, they don't seem to be slipping up.
Have you covered
No,
that?
we're not even going to talk about Chelsea.
Oh, do we have to?
Oh,
Okay, we'll talk about Chelsea in case there are any Chelsea fans out there.
well, firstly, what do we think about them sacking Lampard?
Oh yeah, we haven't mentioned this, have we?
Well, we've been saying it for weeks, though, haven't we?
Yeah, we
Well, months.
I'm only glad they sacked him. There's two sides to this. As a West Ham fan, I'm happy they sacked him because obviously him chasing Declan Rice so much got him sacked.
Is that the real reason? That just sounds ridiculous.
That is one of the.
That's apparently one of the
about.
minor reasons.
Yeah, there was a lot of reasons. It's not the main reason. That was one of the minor reasons he got sacked. And I don't like him in person. I think he's a bit arrogant cock. But on the other side of it, managers need time to build their system. So I can see why they probably shouldn't have sacked him because he was actually trying to do something at Chelsea with the English players. Now Tuchel's come in. He's just playing all the foreign and German players. That's only my.
With the 18, with the English players though. 18 months. The first 12 months, Jerry did. And that was enforced. As soon as he had a transfer window, he was able to buy. He went and brought as many foreigners as he could.
That's true. He didn't buy one English. Oh, he bought one, didn't he? Chilwell.
Yeah, he brought Chilwell.
He had Mount and that in the team. The actual good English players he tried to keep around the team. Abraham was still around the team. How long will they last at Chelsea now? Tuchel's there.
I don't actually think Abraham's a very good striker anyway.
No, me neither.
No.
I know he's got a hat trick or whatever in the FA Cup, but I actually don't think he's that great.
He's championship quality at best.
Yeah. And I don't even think Mount's that great, but he works hard. But I think he's like a mid-table midfielder, like a West Ham type of player.
It's the same with like Reece James though as well. Like Reece James isn't that great of a player. Like he'll have the occasional good game and get massively hyped by Chelsea fans, which will make people like Gareth Southgate be like, "Oh, he plays for Chelsea. He's English. He's a right back. He can go in my England squad." But he's not good enough. It's as simple as that.
Who?
Reece James,
James.
right back.
Yeah. He's not a bad right back. He can play well, but yeah, exactly. He's not.
He's not a European quality right back.
No, not. But I'll definitely take him at West Ham because we've got many right backs as it is. But yeah, I know what you mean. Though he's not the caliber of Chelsea would need.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what Tuchel does at Chelsea. I mean, he got his first win today. It looked like quite a convincing win, just looking at the stats. A very dominant performance. So we'll have to see if it was worth it sacking Lampard. But I think it was a little harsh. But I'm not going to lose sleep over it.
I wasn't surprised though.
It's been coming.
Yes, yeah.
That's just the way Chelsea are run.
It does kind of work for Chelsea. It does kind of work for them that on more cases than not, sacking their manager seems to win them stuff. But how long can a club survive just doing it? They'll run out of managers eventually. They were lucky Tuchel was available. If he wasn't around, who would they have hired?
But do you not think Tuchel's a weird choice? Because he didn't even do fantastically with PSG, considering they're expected to win the league.
I don't know why I'm so excited about having Tuchel because, as you just said, he wasn't that good at PSG. He did all right at Dortmund, but he was building a project there, and he was there for a little while after Klopp left. But he didn't do that good at PSG, and they were world-class players there. And what's he going to do with Chelsea now? He'll last.
Yeah, who have a worse team in a harder league.
Yeah, exactly. He'll last another 18 months, and they'll sack him again for who? Ancelotti probably return or something. Like they're running out of managers to keep bringing in.
Yeah,
We bet.
I thought John Terry would have been a good choice, but they already tried the risk with Lampard, so they wouldn't have done it.
They wouldn't have done it again. But totally, they're not going to survive long, constantly sacking their managers at all.
We better come away from the Premier League. Let's go back to La Liga. Atletico Madrid I didn't realise they have a 10-point lead.
It's crazy.
With a game in hand.
Real Madrid.
And a game in hand.
And a game in hand.
Ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
If Real Madrid don't win the league this season, then honestly, I don't know. Real Madrid lost last night. Was it 2-1 in the end? They had a red card as well.
Atletico won 4-2 today. I think
it's got to be their season, sure. I'd like to see them win it. It makes a change to their league, but I think we're starting to see the demise of Real Madrid and Barca a little bit. That they need to have a bit of a restructure.
hopefully this will give them a shake-up. I mean, I know Atletico won it maybe like 5 years ago or something, but I think they are starting to decline. Both clubs now.
I think some of them, like Barcelona's in such bad money trouble though, aren't they, at the moment?
I don't know what they can do to survive it. Barca do have a game in hand as well. That wouldn't even take them close. They'll still be 10 points adrift of the top. Whether Messi stays beyond this season is another question. But again, he's not exactly in his prime anymore. He's still obviously a fucking world-class player, but he's getting to his latter years. Once they lose Messi, I don't know what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
They can't afford anyone on his caliber.
Yeah, I don't.
But could losing Messi be a better way because they rely on him too much?
Yeah, in theory it could.
It might work for him in a way. They might have to change how they play him, and that might work.
Without him, without him, they'd have to find a way around it. And it'd probably save him a fair bit of cash as well, because he's probably on a few million a week.
Yeah.
So that might save some of their problems. But again, there's other teams in the Liga now that actually look quite appealing to play for, like Villarreal, Seville. They're both up there. Real Sociedad, they're all close to the top of the league. Barcelona doesn't appear to be the only club in the Liga anymore that can put up a bit of a fight in the league.
100%. And I think when Messi does go, you're right. There is no one that you can really replace them with. You have to change the system up. A bit like when Suarez.
Not an insult to saying replacing Messi is like an easy task. Like that's not like a thing anyone can do. There's nothing against Barcelona. But once Messi retires, what do you do?
Exactly. It's not like these players come along like every couple of years. This is a generational player. So,
But
exactly.
it's like what they do with players. Like look at Coutinho though. He goes there, he plays shit for them, but he goes to Bayern, who then he wins the Champions League with, and then goes back there and they still don't play
Yeah.
him. Well, I don't think they play him. I don't really watch the Liga, but it's
I
just
think the
it's
fans.
very bizarre.
Yeah,
I think the fans are quickly on players out
yeah.
there.
The Coutinho situation is
Like
weird.
Griezmann, did he get?
Yeah, Griezmann. That's a great example.
He got loads of stick, didn't he, when he first joined there? And it's like you don't give him enough time to join. He's learned a whole new system to basically fit around what Messi wants to do. So I actually think losing Messi might benefit them.
Yeah.
Because they can actually give these other players a chance in their actual positions and play a formation that will suit them, maybe. But
They have some unbelievable youth players as well that they're integrating this season. And Koeman's done a great job, in my opinion.
Gary's about to wheel some out because he's been playing FM quite a lot recently.
Yeah.
So go on, Gary. Drop us some names.
Well, no, they got like a few decent players, Adam, and I think you know who they are. They got Pedri in midfield, who's playing ahead of Coutinho, as you said.
Yeah.
And he's really highly rated by Barcelona fans. Then they got the youngster from Ajax in the summer.
He must be
Dest,
good.
The right back. Like they are decent players, and they've got quite a few. And obviously, because of where they couldn't buy any, they're having to integrate, like Lampard had to do at Chelsea. But some of these are real like stars that would start in most La Liga teams. And I think, like Adam said, if Messi did leave, it probably would help them, both financially and on the pitch, because you're not trying to play Messi's way, because he kind of dictates how they play and what they do. Whereas if he kind of goes away, it's like, right, now we're a team. And they might get that bond back that they had when you had Messi, Iniesta, Xavi, Ronaldinho, all PK, all in the same team, Paul even. But right now, it just seems like it's Messi and no one else.
If Messi leaves Barca, I don't know where he's going to go. Like, if he goes to City, I don't know what he's going to do there that half their players can't already do.
sell shirts.
Sell shirts, basically, yeah.
That's what he's
Exactly.
Yeah.
We talk about Atletico running away with the title. It looks like Bayern are doing the same thing. Another big result against Hoffenheim, and I feel like Bundesliga is becoming, maybe the most predictable league. Maybe even more so than League One at this point.
It is a hard league to win, yeah.
But
they are quite close up at the moment. Dortmund are down to 6 at the moment.
Really struggling. I mean, they won their last game.
Wolfsburg, Frankfurt. Yeah, they won their last game, but again, they're not even putting up a fight. They're 32 points. They're over 13 points adrift of Bayern at the moment. Leverkusen, Frankfurt, Wolfsburg, and Leipzig are ahead of them. Leipzig are the only team even close to Bayern, but again, what can they? They're not. Even when Bayern slipped up the other week, they didn't take advantage of it, did they? So, what are they supposed to do? They're not winning consistently enough to even put up a title challenge.
Nice to see teams like Wolfsburg and Frankfurt around the top 4 area. Makes a bit of a change. And Schalke, things don't seem to be getting any better for them. Still just the one win, minus 34 goal difference.
Secret Schalke. They're getting battered a little bit. I remember when Schalke used to be quite a top team in the Bundesliga, and they're not anymore.
It's bizarre. And they got a draw. I think it was today or yesterday.
Aren't you you're a Bayern fan, aren't you, Mike?
Well, I've been there. That's probably as far of a fan I would say I would go.
Do you have a team in the Bundesliga that you support?
Not really.
No.
I would say Bayern is they get a bigger appeal. So like any smaller German teams get a good player, Bayern just snatches them up, don't they?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And kind of fuck them up a bit because they all look at Hummels left Dortmund to go to Bayern. I know he's gone back there now because it's at the end of his career, but they all want to go to Bayern, so they all just fucking leave the. If Dortmund had stayed together with like Lewandowski and the lot had stayed, I think they could have probably won a couple more titles. But because obviously they had the appeal of going to Bayern because it's the big club in Germany, they're more likely to win Europe. They left.
And they have a lot of times. That's the thing, though, and it's not. You can't blame them. I'm surprised Royce is still there.
Yeah, he's the only one that really stayed loyal, isn't he? Really.
Good straight. I think he should have left for his own good at some point. He's loyal, but again, yeah.
He struggles with injuries a lot, though, doesn't he? If I remember rightly, Royce.
Yeah, he's been injured for quite a long time. I think it hasn't helped him, but again, it's probably almost as predictable as League One is really with PSG.
Yeah,
other teams put up a challenge, but
talking about League One, though, PSG are currently sat in 3rd, which is not something we see every day.
They lost today, I believe, didn't they?
They lost 3-2, I believe, if I'm right.
Yeah, it was their last winner, I believe. I can't remember who they're playing, unfortunately.
Orient.
Orient. Go on, Gary. Give us a bit. What's been going on?
Gareth.
Okay, who did you top?
Well,
Who
no,
did
they
you
went-
top to win the league? Was it Lille or Leon?
I think I said Leon
Okay.
because of where they're not in Europe this
Okay.
season, and they're currently second, like a point behind or something.
No, Lille top.
Yeah, Lille top. I said Leon.
Oh, sorry, Leon.
Yeah, they're second.
Sorry.
But yeah, like PSG today, this was Pochettino's first loss as well as PSG manager. They went 1-0 down to the side, third from bottom. Then they only went 2-1 up because of 2 penalties, and then conceded 2 in the final 10 minutes. Like, Pochettino proven he's not that great.
Early days, but yeah.
Well, yeah, early days, but, you know, with that squad, like, I keep saying how they've got such great attacking players, and then you look at their defence, and it's such a poor defence. Like, you got no world-class defenders in that team. Like, even the midfield, you've only got really Verratti. It's so, as a squad as a whole, it's not great. It's never going to win the Champions League.
Never.
And
Oof. Big statement from Gary Payne to flash forward.
that's starting. Their main starting 11 would never win the Champions League
Flash forward.
unless every team they played had severe injuries to their key players.
That's the thing, though. It's a bit of a Pochettino. It's disappointing for him, really. He's meant to be a world-class manager. He's got the PSG. It's still a great team, again, but it's a dead-end club. Like, you're not going to win the Champions League. You'll dominate and win league titles, but you won't win the Champions League, and you probably win the whatever the French Cup is. But
He's a world-class manager that's won no trophies. Does that feel class? He's world-class?
He's won the French Super Cup now.
you
Oh,
can't.
sorry, he's managed to win a big cup that he
can't-
bought from the shop.
He's a good manager. I know he did stuff at Southampton. He made them a half decent team, and then he did do well at Spurs. Probably world class. Stretching it a bit.
He won nothing.
Yeah.
Could he be one of those managers that does so great at mid-table clubs, makes it look much better than they actually are? Like, you give them a top job. Take Roy Hodgson, for example. When he's at a shit club, he does get
Big
results.
Sam, maybe.
But you give him a top job, then he can't do anything.
That's the thing, though. He's definitely one of those managers. He's one of those
Sam,
managers.
yeah, give
I
him
don't
a
think we can
job.
compare Pochettino
Yeah,
to
this
Roy
is
Hodgson. They're kind of.
That's a big sweep.
Well, you look at Hodgson. He won the
Yeah, he's got a few trophies, to be fair.
runner-up in Europa League final. Like, that's pretty decent when he was at Fulham. So, you know, he's someone that
Fulham were a
does
worse
something
team
with.
than Tottenham are.
Pardon?
Or Fulham are a worse team than PSG or Tottenham are. Who
Yeah, exactly.
All right then.
Pochettino's become one of those managers that everyone's obsessed with to become world class, but he'll end up at like Stoke in a few years' time. It's like, he's going to finally fully his potential as a manager, and then never.
I think PSG probably were after Roy Hodgson, but they had to settle for Pochettino in the end.
Separate Roy Hodgson from Palace. He's nice. It's nice to settle there. He's got his warm little blanket on the
loves it.
touchline. He's ready
He
for.
loves his life at Palace.
I don't know how.
I think Pochettino is going to come a bit like what Thomas Tuchel actually already is, and just be one of those managers that gets a job at a big club, just because of where they've managed other big clubs. Like Thomas Tuchel has never done it at a small club.
Give it to Sam Allardyce. Says he'll fucking sort him out.
The last league we'll cover is a league that I really don't follow. I'll be honest with you, which is Serie A. Can some?
It's
yeah,
a trade league.
yeah. Can
Take
someone
it
give
away.
me a rundown? What's going on?
It's the most competitive league right now, no
Okay.
doubt.
He's probably not wrong
More
either, to be
competitive than
fair.
the Premier League at the moment.
Teams 7 to first, 10-point gap at the moment. AC Milan leading. What? Who's your team in Italy, Michael?
Inter.
I don't have one. I don't mind watching that.
You don't follow these things.
You've got a shot of someone, Mike. You must have
Yeah.
done.
Well, Italy, I've never been to Italy, so I don't. Oh, actually, do I have an I might have
Even
an
Gary has a Roma
There
shirt.
you go. Yeah, doesn't fit me anymore, but I've got one.
That's why his rugby on is skin tight. He's wearing it right now.
If I was probably going to pick about someone, it'd be probably Napoli. I didn't mind you, Sassuolo. Do you remember Sassuolo?
Yeah,
Those 7-5 mid, they used to be
Yeah,
quite good.
Yeah,
They're,
just
they're top
Yeah, I
10
think
this
they're 8.
season.
Yeah.
So, probably one of them too, maybe.
So Gary, can you sell Serie A to me? You said there's a lot of drama at the moment.
Lazio are on form. They won their last 5.
Who's that?
Lazio, they're on form. They won their last 5. They could be putting
They
a
beat
push.
Atalanta today. Which
Yeah,
was
and
a massive shock.
Atalanta. Yeah.
It seems like no one can get a good form patch going apart from Lazio, who have won 5 in a row.
Well, AC Milan started very well though.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't lose for ages. Their first defeat was like to Inter Milan.
Okay.
But in the like Italian Cup, I'm assuming it's like the Italian FA Cup sort of thing. There's a bit of drama between Zlatan and Lukaku.
Yeah, who would win in a fight out of those two guys, by the way?
Zlatan.
Zlatan, because he probably goes full cycle.
He is a black belt
someone.
and something, so.
He's also he's like quite a big psycho as well, in that he posted a picture of himself bald, but he wasn't even bald. He just photoshopped himself to make it look like he had no hair.
He's quite intimidating, to be fair. I'll probably say Lukaku though. I wouldn't doubt him, but I think as soon as Zlatan fully started, I think he'd end him.
100%. Okay, I think we've just about covered all the football. We could talk about the Scottish Premier League, but Nabil's not here, so we don't really need to.
We really need Nabil here because we know he's a United fan at heart.
Oh, do they play football up in Scotland? Is that what they play out there?
No, this is why we haven't got any Scottish fans because fucking Mike's their league.
It's just Sunday League, mate, up there.
To be fair, in Scotland, the top scorer is a right back, so that's pretty impressive.
Okay.
Is it? I will give Gerrard his due though. He didn't go to Celtic, so he went to the other decent team in Scotland and finally got them back to where they should be.
Yeah, props to Gerrard, definitely.
Not that I want to say that to Gerrard, but to be fair, he has got them sort of back to where they should be in Scotland.
It's Rangers' league to lose at the moment, so I don't think there's too much to say there. Really, that is literally a two-horse race. It's Rangers' league
Pretty
to lose.
much.
So there's not too much.
Yeah, let's
to
talk
say,
about let's switch sports now. Let's talk about some NBA. And I was thinking maybe we'll do this on a conference basis, so maybe we'll start talking about the Eastern Conference.
Okay, so I'll throw Mike.
Perhaps we'll talk about the Brooklyn Nets. What have we made of the big three so far this season? I know they've only had a few games together.
Do you know what? I'm a big fan of the Brooklyn Nets coach on another note. He used to be my favourite player. And that's why I support the Lakers, because he left the Suns to join the Lakers to win a championship. But, that's another story. But that's why I ended up supporting the Lakers, because of their coach.
Very nice. Very nice. Nice little story time.
Getting him indeed.
I didn't know this was an interview. But
You turned up on the wrong show, sorry.
I just
no, that's cool.
It's always nice to pass it to me.
For me, so far in the Brooklyn Nets, I think James Harden's probably outshining the other two at the moment. I think he's had like 3 triple doubles already for the Brooklyn Nets, which is really impressive. And they have had a few wins. They've been outscoring a lot of opponents, but they have been conceding a fair amount. So I still think their defense is a bit suspect.
To be fair, on that note, though, obviously Durant's just come back from an
has.
injury.
Isn't he injured again now?
I wouldn't expect
a small injury.
I don't know.
Wasn't he just rested last night?
Okay, yeah, maybe he was just rested. Who are your favourites for the East Conference? Either of you guys, any of you?
Well, I would have said Boston Celtics until they had a bit of COVID in the camp, and now they seem to be terrible.
Yeah, something.
Like they've just suddenly gone up like completely off form. Like they've got unlucky as well, because I think they had just enough players in one of their games. I think it was against the New York Knicks, which was a few weeks ago now, actually. But they only just had enough players to play, and then they lost by like 30 points, which is like so unlucky, because very few teams have had to do that this season. But since then, they've got 2 wins.
I stayed up to watch the Lakers and the Celtics yesterday.
The Lakers,
They lost it, didn't they? The Lakers, or was that the game before?
Yeah, no, the game before, I think, to 76ers.
Yeah, the Lakers did beat the Celtics, but to be honest, it didn't feel like a good win, because they won by 1 point for starters, but in the last couple of seconds, the Celtics had a huge chance after an Anthony Davis turnover, and it just wasn't pretty, and that's how it's been for the Lakers the last couple of games. But I was actually impressed with the Celtics defense, because I know they haven't been able to train together much, but they actually put in a shift, and all of the guys really worked their socks off. And Jaylen Brown and
I couldn't believe how low the Heat.
Oh no, sorry, you go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say I couldn't believe how low the Heat are now.
Yeah. To be fair, I think Jimmy
After
Butler's
making
been
the...
out, hasn't he?
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he came back last
Okay.
night in their win, and he actually put up like 30 points.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I think they do.
But they had lost like 5 or 6 in a row before
Yeah.
that.
But I agree with Gary that Celtics were my favourites a couple of weeks ago, but that's quickly changed, and probably the Nets will be my favourites now. Even though the 76ers are doing great, but I still think the Nets will finish top.
I watched them against the Lakers the other night, the Philadelphia 76ers, and they actually looked pretty decent, to be fair. Like, I hadn't watched much of them at all this season, but watching that game, they looked really good, and it's going to take a lot to stop them during the regular season. Whether they can go far in the playoffs, I'm not sure. But yeah, I'd agree with you about the Nets now. Just like last night, 9 players scoring double-figure points. Like, that's just insane.
Yeah, that's the thing. We talk about their big 3, but you had 6 other players scoring. It's
Like, I was happy last night when Warriors had 5 players, and then Brooklyn just did 9. It's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about a conference we're probably a bit more familiar with, as we all follow teams in the Western Conference. And the Jazz are currently sat top. No one's been performing up to their standards, really. The Warriors are... I actually think the Warriors are having a good season. A lot of people kind of wrote them off, but they're currently sat in a playoff spot, and they had a good win yesterday. And how far do you think they can go this season, Gary?
I think they'll sneak a playoff.
They'll just sneak one.
Yeah, I think they'll be 5th to 8th. I don't think they're going to be a top 4. I think that'll be Clippers, Lakers,
Jazz and Nuggets.
Jazz look really good. Maybe the Nuggets. I'd probably stick with the Trailblazers right now for that 4th spot.
Okay.
But yeah, I reckon the Warriors will just sneak a playoff place, but they're so inconsistent. Like, just take
Kelly Oubre?
Wow, I try to avoid not talking about him, but like he was shooting 9% the other night. Like,
for
9%.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, like his overall stats is like before last night's game, he was shooting 33% for the season.
I genuinely think you could go up to Manor Park and you could get like a better percentage than that. Just from our
probably could, yeah.
Let's go down and find out.
I could just see Gary up there dunking.
Gary's about 5'9".
He's got a huge vertical though. He can jump 5 feet in the air. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Short and stocky.
It's just on your shoulders, Adam, mate.
Yeah, fucking hell, yeah. Doing my back and carrying that fat ass around.
Yeah, Kelly Oubre has been the worst player in the team without doubt this season.
You know how much I like Andy Wiggins, so I think he's been awesome this season.
Yeah, he has. Well, at times he has. I still would prefer if he could score 20 points plus a few more times. Because, like, he's struggling. He's like around that 16 mark at the moment for the season. And he just needs to up it a little bit more. Because at the moment, it's just Steph Curry, like, getting the points. Wiseman's starting to shoot a lot more as well. He's averaging about 11 points per game this season. But it's really Steph Curry and then just hoping everyone else can scrap a few points up to get the win. Because, you know, without Klay Thompson, it just doesn't look like Warriors have enough points to win games. And that's why Kelly Oubre really needs to either up his game or needs to be dropped. Because you got 2 players on the bench that can outscore Oubre if they play more minutes.
Do you think Draymond Green's had a big impact since coming back, or is he still getting into his stride?
No, I think he's been superb. I said it on the last podcast that he's allowed like more freedom for everyone else just to kind of go away and be more offensive. Because if you take the first few games of the season, obviously the Warriors lost the opening 2. Wiseman was kind of playing in that role that Green's in now. And Wiseman just makes too many fouls, whereas Green, his experience kind of shows, and he's not going to commit too many fouls in a game. He'll get 3 or 4 at the end of the game, whereas Wiseman was getting 3 or 4 in a quarter and wasn't getting the minutes. And Wiseman's the only tall guy in the team. Like, he's like 7'1". Everyone else is like good foot like smaller. So you kind of need Wiseman's height because in the early games we're getting bullied massively for our height, and teams were just sticking a big man on underneath the hoop, and it's just like easy rebounds. Whereas now with Green's experience, it's just you could just see that they've changed the style up, and it's really helped massively.
Yeah, that's good to see.
Also, bringing Kevin Looney in as well has helped as well.
Definitely.
In the early stages of the game.
Does he get many minutes, Looney?
He gets about 16 a game. Like in recent games, at the start of the season, he wasn't getting that, but recently he's been starting getting about 16 minutes, and it's just meant that Wiseman's coming off the bench instead of starting. Because, like I said about Wiseman's fouls, like if he starts, you know, he's going to be brought off pretty quickly because of the amount of fouls he makes. So by coming off the bench, obviously you're not going to worry about him committing the fouls too early on.
True.
I like Kelly Oubre. He got 2 fouls inside the opening 2 minutes.
Came straight off, right?
Had to be dragged off. Yeah.
He talks a lot of smack for a guy who shoots as low as he does. That's all I'm saying. Mike, what have you made of the... I haven't had a chance to talk to you about the Lakers this season, but what have you made of the trades and how they're performing? The guys that have come in so far.
That's a very good question, Ty.
He's thinking about it. He's pretty...
Oh, well, Hazel's playing well, isn't he? I saw he scored 20 the other day. But I don't know, is it Harrow?
Yeah,
Harrow?
Montrezl Harrell.
Him, he scored 20 points the other day, didn't he? So I don't know. I to be honest, I have not watched any of
That's cool. No, I probably should have.
He's the NFL.
I probably should have checked before the show if you'd watched any. That's fine. I'll talk a little bit about the Lakers. I still think there is a bit of a problem in regard with Marc Gasol, because I was talking to you about it the other day, Gary, and you didn't fully understand until you watched him how slow he really is. But I mean, he bring.
Well, no, it's just that bucket that Giannis got against him. The ball's like rebounded, it's right at his feet. And all he's got to do is pick it up. And Giannis runs about 5 meters.
Yeah, but
picks up the ball and then just slams it home.
They do call him the Greek freak for a reason, though. He is.
Yeah, I honestly feel like anybody could have done that against Gasol. And that's how slow he seems to be.
Yeah, he brings experience to the team. He brings good decision making, but they're just missing that. I sound like a broken record, but they're missing that rim protector that they had last season. They had 2 decent rim protectors, and that was really big against guys like Giannis. And they have Montrezl Harrell, who is a great center. You know, he is an elite center, but he just doesn't have the height. He's about 6. I think he's 6'7" or 6'8", which for a center is, that's miniature. It's not big enough to compete with these big power forwards.
6'7", 6'8".
Yeah, that's small for a center.
That's miniature.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
They're normally around the 7 foot, maybe 6'11", 7 foot.
I've stopped watching this sport.
It's but I'm happy with the Lakers overall, but there are some worrying signs when teams do play big against them. That's my only concern, is the defending against the bigger sides. But I don't have any doubt that we're going to qualify for the playoffs.
You take Davis out of that team, though. And obviously, he didn't play against Detroit Pistons, and they look dreadful.
Yeah, it's true. And Davis hasn't even been that good this season, but they still look bad without him. Yeah. And I think that's because he is an elite big man, and they haven't really got any other, guys of his quality that size. But yeah, it's an interesting season at the moment. Is there any other teams you want to talk about before we move on to the NFL?
Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, what's going on with the Mavericks?
5 defeats in a row now. 8 defeats in the last 10. Like, they started the season so well. Luka Doncic was getting like triple double, constantly, and now they just can't do anything. They just look so average again.
It's
which I'm happy about, because they play Golden State Warriors this week.
Yeah, I think that's Tuesday night, isn't it?
No, I think it's a bit later.
Are you going to be watching the Celtics Warriors game?
No, that's Wednesday morning, that one, on the 3rd. Because Warriors have a few days off now, and then they play the Celtics, I think, Wednesday morning. And then, like, our time. and then the Mavericks Friday and Sunday morning. Well, we're pretty close to the halfway stage of the season already, which is the start of March, before I think a 2-week break or something like that. And then the fixtures are obviously announced for the second half of the season. But yeah, as long as the Warriors are there or thereabouts at the halfway stage, I think
so too. Let's talk about the NFL now. This is where we do need you, Mike. We do have the Super Bowl next week, of course. Do you want to just give us a quick rundown about building up to this game?
I think before we talk about the Super Bowl, just today the Detroit Lions and the Rams have traded just quarterbacks, basically, and a few draft picks. I'm not quite sure which way the draft picks have gone, but I think for if I was a Rams fan, I'd be quite happy, because Sean McVay definitely didn't trust Jared Goff to throw the ball that often, and relied very much on a running game. But I don't think I'd be happy if I was a Lions fan. I definitely would hope they'd trade up and maybe get a quarterback in the draft. I think to be fair to Goff in the playoffs, I think he broke his thumb, something like that, and he didn't start the game. But the backup,
he got a concussion, didn't he, or a neck injury?
He got injured,
something,
didn't he? And he came on and played with a broken thumb, and I'm like, well, fair play, because obviously he has to catch the ball and throw it with a broken thumb. Fuck that. But I think in the whole, I think it's definitely a good trade for the trade otherwise, because I don't think Goff is good enough. I mean, he made the Super Bowl.
Didn't the Rams lose like 2 first-round picks though for like the next 2 years?
Was it 2? I didn't know what the. Yeah, I don't know if that's definitely worth the risk, but I definitely think Stafford's a better quarterback, and it's the most important position in the game.
I'm surprised the Lions went for that, because just the amount of abuse Goff gets is, from pundits and social media, everyone just completely destroys him. But
it might be because of the 2 first-round picks is probably why they've gone with it. It's just it stops them from probably having to draft a quarterback this year. They probably draft. I know they're struggling on defense all year, so they probably drafted someone back there, and then worry about a quarterback with one of the other picks maybe, and just use them for a year, because it's not like they're probably playoff contenders anyway, and they're definitely not going to be playoff contenders with him. So probably just using him as a stopgap until they can draft a better quarterback. But sorry, back to the Super Bowl. No, we've covered that. I thought that was probably. I saw that today. Obviously, it's Brady's 10th Super Bowl, which is a record at 43 years old. 6, right? I mean, that is 1-6, yes. Yeah. 1 for each finger on one hand and 1 for the other.
That is really
impressive, isn't it? So he's only ever lost in 3 Super Bowls, and he's only ever lost 3 playoff games in the 10. No, it's just incredible. Oh, no, is it 3? No, it's not 3 playoff games. It's quite
not
a few.
Bad
I think in the 3 Super Bowls, 2 of those was 1 quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, I think normally I'd go for the Chiefs for this game, but I feel like all the pressure is on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, just because Brady, he's been there, he's done that, he's already cemented his place in history. Whereas Patrick Mahomes, if he does lose to a 43-year-old Tom Brady, that could really affect, his legacy and the team in general. I mean,
I would agree, but then I think there's everyone wrote off the Bucks, to be honest, with Brady, I think. And I think Brady has that mentality to just battle, he doesn't give a shit what people think. And I think at this point now, making the Super Bowl, you can't completely, especially after beating Rodgers, because I was surprised with
what
that.
A
I wanted
that was, by the way.
I want the Bucks. I want the Bucks to win. So I don't think they will, unfortunately. But I wrote Brady off in the first half of the season when we did the last one, and we voted on who was going to win, Rodgers or Brady, and Brady absolutely smashed them. And I think he'll come out and prove. I don't think it's all about being able to throw it long or being able to run with the ball as such. It definitely helps, but his experience of being there 7 times or 10 times and winning 6 of them.
Just playing for that guy's team alone is enough to inspire, the rest of the players.
Well, some of the players, Mike Evans is one of the best. They had 2 the year before Brady joined. They had 2 1,000 receiving yard receivers in Evans and Godwin, and that's why I picked him in my fantasy team. Um, and obviously that was with Jameis Winston, who threw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. So you clearly upgrade your quarterback position. And then he brings his mate with Gronkowski, who took a couple of weeks to get into it, because obviously everyone started slagging him off that he's only dead block rushers. But I just feel like
Brown.
I think if they had, and Antonio Brown, but I think if they had a pre-season, they had possibly won the first seed.
Yeah.
But I think that slowed down the time for players to gel. I mean, that didn't help, especially them playing the Saints first, who had players that played together for God knows how many seasons. They didn't need a pre-season as such to get to learn the playbook and all that sort of stuff. So I think people just wrote him off, and then he's just such a professional that he just doesn't give a shit, and just every time someone goes, "Oh, they're going to lose," he just pulls out of the bag.
Yeah, he's a freak athlete. I do have a question for you, Mike. Do you think if I know we talk about Tom Brady a lot, but it's hard not to. Do you think if he wins this Super Bowl, do you think that will be his last? Do you think he'll hang up his helmet?
I don't think he will, because I think he knows he's got another good enough team to go for it again next year. I think if he had like obviously Gronkowski's quite old or aging for an American footballer. I think if all the players sort of age and you think like quite a few of them were going to retire and they wouldn't really have a shot next year, I think you'd go, yeah, I'm done. I've proved that I can still do it at 43. I don't need to prove anything else. I think you'd go, yeah, I'm not going to bother. But I think when he's still got young players in Godwin, and I think Scotty Miller's quite young, and then obviously Evans at receiver, you got OJ Howard. Is it OJ? Sorry, Howard to come back at tight end. He's got quite a young offensive line. I think you could see him winning it again, so I think he would come back for another year.
Great stuff. And do you have any? I know you can't go out to watch it anyway, but do you have any plans to watch the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I'm going to watch it at home. I booked the day off work, so.
I haven't booked the day off work, but I'll still be watching it.
Yeah.
Be a bad idea.
I just know I can, because it's going to be like 5 hours long.
Yeah, it is.
With the halftime show and stuff.
Adam, Gary, are you going to be watching Super Bowl this year or not?
Oh, I don't see why not. I might give it a watch. Not doing much else. What day is it on?
That's the problem.
That's Sunday.
It might be
yeah, that's what
why do they always have their
times.
finish? Blimey. I'll give it a try. Why not?
Easy.
On the other hand, with Mahomes, though, if he wins it for the second year in a run, and he's the first player to do it since 2003, which was ironically Brady.
Okay. That could be quite
So
symbolic.
I think there's quite a nice little tie in this. Yeah, there's a nice little tie in. It's the oldest quarterback age split between quarterbacks in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I'm pretty sure that's right. And obviously, sort of Mahomes is sort of taking the baton from Brady, really, in a way of probably being the best quarterback. He's probably the more exciting quarterback to watch. I do enjoy watching the Chiefs probably more than the Bucks as such, because some of the stuff they do are pretty cool. Like even like if you look back at last year's Super Bowl where they all did like the little pirouette, I'm like, and it's just quite fun. They're quite a fun
That's
team
the reason
to watch.
Sorry, you go ahead. No, I was going to say the reason I decided to follow the Chiefs a couple of seasons ago was because how exciting they looked. They've got so many quick guys, and that's for a neutral point of view, that's just great to watch.
Well, it's like Tyreek Hill, isn't it? I think last time they played Bucks in week 13, I think they played.
I think it was a
12.
tight game.
I mean, luckily, well, if I remember rightly, though, the Chiefs went out really quick because Tyreek Hill scored like 279 yards or something stupid in a half. And it was just mental. But then Bucks managed to pull it back. But I think, at least this year with the Super Bowl, it's not going to be... If I remember right, last year was a bit boring.
Yeah.
The year before that was
the
really
Rams
shit.
Patriots game. That was a drag.
That was awful, wasn't it? The last decent one was the Eagles-Patriots game, which the Eagles went on and won. So at least hopefully this one will be a bit more entertaining with two probably more offensive-minded teams rather than defensive-minded teams going at each other. Will probably be a bit more fun.
I hope you got some beers ready, Mike. It should be a good one. Good stuff.
Yeah, I love that.
Nice.
Stuff.
Okay, so that is it for our sports roundup today. We've only covered a few sports, but we're now going to move on to the sporting highlight of the week. I haven't actually prepped Mike for this. So
Give him a highlight.
Basically, Mike, every week
Straight
we
in.
pick a sporting highlight. If you don't have time to come up with one, that's fine. But if you
Okay.
can think of one, then Gary, perhaps you start us off because you're the only one that's written something down on the document.
Just go me last. Though. That's all.
So I was struggling this week,
Uh-huh.
to be honest. So I decided to go for Damian Lillard's 2 3-pointers in the final 9 seconds
Okay.
last night. The Bulls were beating the Trailblazers by 5 points. Lillard then got a 3-pointer with 8.9 seconds, I think. No, 7.9
Uh-huh.
seconds left. They then stole the ball back, and with like 0 point something seconds left, Lillard scored another 3 to win the game.
Just proving he's better than Curry.
No, he's not proving anything, mate. Right, so he hasn't put a 62-point game down the
hasn't.
season, so maybe you should be quiet. But no, that's my
Awesome.
highlight of the week.
Okay, I'll go next. My highlight of the week was actually the NFL game we briefly mentioned last week, which was the Packers against the Bucks. I don't follow either of these teams, but from a neutral point of view, it was one of the best games I've seen in a long, long time. It was just back and forth. Anyone could have won it until the last second, and the Bucks just show why they are in the Super Bowl. The fact they overcame such a good Packers team. And yeah, that's it for my highlight. And Adam?
It's not a great one, but I was watching the Leicester Leeds game earlier on, and Bamford's goal was great. Great finish on the outside of the foot. Maybe he's a contention for the England squad. He's English,
think
right?
so,
Before I say
yeah.
that.
Looks and sounds like it.
Yeah, Patrick
Sounds
Bamford.
like it could be Irish.
It's a great.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
He's having a decent season, to be fair to him. He's 27 years old. He's not in his sort of youth anymore, but he's had a fairly sort of average career until he sort of got to Leeds and is playing in that system, and he's doing really well. Could be a late contention really for the England squad. I don't know if he'd do a good job up there, but he's not doing too badly, and he's got to be in consideration really. It was a great finish as well from a tight angle.
Definitely. Mike, did you have time to come up with a sporting highlight?
Yeah, I've got one. Conor McGregor being
Oh,
knocked
yes,
out in
we
the
haven't-
MMA.
we haven't
There's
even
nothing more
mentioned
fun than seeing Conor McGregor getting knocked out.
You don't like McGregor then, I take it.
I like him as the fact that I like. I'd rather him be like that and have a personality than be a robot and not. If that makes sense. Like I think a lot of sports people now don't have personalities. Partly because they're not really allowed to, because obviously they get in trouble. So I like the fact that he's got a personality. I just don't really actually like him. There's nothing. It's quite nice.
I like Poirier a lot, or Poirier, however you say it. He seems like a really classy athlete. If anyone's going to beat him, I'm glad it was him. Well, he's like the third. That's probably the third guy to beat. Is that the third loss of his career?
I know he lost to Khabib, didn't he?
I think
I can't say his surname. I'm going to try it.
Don't worry about it. It's cool. Okay.
But
yeah. So that brings us to the lot.
Oh, what
I
was
said
yours?
mine. It was the NFL. The
Not paying attention to you, mate.
No, I'm on bad form
Sorry.
today. So Gary, I believe you have a quiz prepared for us today.
Yeah, so it's football and basketball dominated. You've
Great.
both got, all three of you have 2 questions each. You've got the first one you got to name 3 players. Second one you got to name 5 players, and obviously if there's a tie break, I got a tie break question.
Name fucking hell.
So Adam, we're going to start with the basketball one first. So I want you to name as many of the current top 3 points per game leaders this season before tonight's Knicks and Clippers match.
LeBron. I was guessing. I named one the other week. What's his name? I don't think I can give you more than LeBron. What is his name? He was playing with LeBron last season. Can't remember his name. Anthony Davis.
That's 2.
And
Maybe
I
one
know.
of the next players.
I think that's the one. I'm trying to remember his name because I named him in the quiz answer the other week. It's not something Musette, is it?
Sorry, what?
Something Musette. I can't remember his surname. It's not who it is. I can't remember. I don't think I'm going to make the third one.
Okay. Simon, do you want to take a
Kevin
guess?
Durant's got to be up there.
Oh,
Yeah, Durant's second on 30.5. Mike, would you be able to name anyone?
Oh,
Well, I
jeez.
just assume Harden would probably be
I'm
up
going
there.
to say Joel Embiid.
Mm. No,
that's
so
another
the
one.
current top
What about
three.
Steph Curry?
No, the current top three: Bradley
Wow.
Beal, 34.7.
Oh, that's
Kevin
right.
Durant, 30.5, and Damian Lillard's on 29.6 so far this season. So you get 0 so far, Adam.
Perfect.
So Simon, same format for you, but for the rebounders per game this season.
Okay.
Top three.
Okay. It's not going to be any. It's not going to be anyone from the Lakers. I'm going to say Clint Capella. Wow, I'm freezing here. I'm going to say Kevin Durant again. That's probably wrong. And then one more. Nikola Jokic.
You got one right.
Okay.
Clint Capella. He was
Okay.
14.5 so far.
Okay.
Third place was Rudy Gobert from Utah Jazz,
Okay.
who's been putting up some very impressive figures this year, to be fair. And top of the list is Andre Drummond from the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh, fair enough.
On 14.7. So you get one right.
Okay. I'll take that.
I'm going to
So
come out.
Michael, same for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
For assists per game this season.
Assists. Alright, we go.
These ones were probably easier, to be fair, the assists per game. All big names.
I don't really. Right, so we'll go Chris Paul. Which sounds like it's going to be well wrong. I think we'll just go Kevin Durant and Steph Curry.
So you get 0. So top is actually James Harden on 11.1.
Oh, shit.
Luka Doncic is second with 9.4. And Nikolai Jokic is 8.7 in third place. So back to you, Adam. The low scoring so far. So now I want the top 5
We are
players.
sports experts, by the way.
So what have I got to do?
So I want to know the top 5 players in the Premier League this season with the highest total saves. Amount of saves this season. Goalkeepers with the most amount of saves this season.
Nick
top 5.
Pope, Henderson. I can't remember his name for West Brom, but something Henderson. Do I need his first name? Because I know his surname's Henderson.
Sorry, who's that?
West Brom's goalkeeper. It's something Henderson, isn't it?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, I'll come back to him then. So Pope, Fabianski. I think Alisson's probably had quite a few. The West Brom goalkeeper's doing my head in because I know who it is. He used to play for Man United. Something Johnston.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Sam Johnston.
Sam Johnston. One more. Who's in the relegation zone? Areola.
Yeah. Okay. You got 3 out of 5.
Okay.
So Sam Johnston's top with 85. Nick Pope second, 80. Ilan Messier from Leeds.
Oh, I couldn't remember his
78.
name. I was going to
And
say.
Cole Darlow's in 4th with 77, and Areola's just in 5th with 73.
That's a solid effort.
So you get 3 points.
Yeah.
So Simon,
Hello.
same for you. Top 5 players, but with the most amount of tackles this
This
season.
amount of tackles.
Oh, it's got to be Declan Rice.
Declan's probably one of them, isn't he?
Well, that's what you want to say.
Yeah, I'll put Declan. I'll put Declan. I'm gonna say. This is difficult. This is really difficult.
Think of some good CDMs.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Very few as CDMs.
I'm gonna say Andy Robertson. I don't think that's the case, but I think he might be a little surprise contender
That's
there.
2.
Thiago, Chelsea.
Thiago Silva.
Sorry, Thiago Silva.
So that's 3 players for now.
I'm thinking of Højbjerg and one more. Let me think. Damn,
Yeah, we
I
next
can't
week
even
show
think of any centre backs. Just my brain's freezing.
Maybe think of a Manchester United slide tackle merchant.
Slide tackle merchant.
Slide tackle merchants, big one.
Harry Maguire?
So you scored 0.
0.
So Aaron Wan-Bissaka is top with 60.
Wow, my football knowledge is
Mario Romeo is
terrible.
in second with 58.
Okay.
James McArthur third with 57.
Okay.
James Justin of Leicester in fourth with 55. And Yves Bissouma from Brighton in fifth with 54.
Nice.
So Mike, you need 3 to level it with Adam,
Okay.
or Adam's tonight's winner. So same for you, top 5 players in the Premier League, but with the most fouls this season.
Oh god. Let's think of some City players. They like the foul, but, I don't know. David Luiz maybe. I don't know how much he's played, but we'll go David Luiz.
Okay, first answer.
I'll get my background ready.
Fernandinho.
That's 2.
Fairly.
Premature.
Ndidi from Leicester.
3. Pretty sure he's been injured this season.
Damn it. Yeah, but those games he played, he did a lot of
Maybe
20 fouls a
fouled
game.
himself out.
20 fouls a game. How many is that? 3, Gary?
Yeah, that's 3. I need 2 more.
We'll go Declan Rice. You know, West Ham are a dirty team.
That's such a close answer.
And we will go Højbjerg because he tackles really hard, so I can imagine they give him a lot of fouls against him.
Well, you got a point right at the end with Højbjerg, who is top with 40.
Fucking get in there! Sorry.
But Thomas Soucek was second with 38, Ashley Barnes in third with 37, Matthias Klitsch in fourth with 34, and Mason Mount in fifth with 33. So you get a point. So Simon and Michael on a point. This week's winner, Adam on 3.
He's done it. Where's the music?
Reigning
Where's the
champion.
music?
No, I can't. No, let's keep it humble. Let's keep it humble, okay?
That's not like you.
The Bill's not here to wind up this week.
That's true. That's true.
Keep it humble. The real competitor's not here.
Closest West Ham fan will get to a chance.
Let's get that one in there as well.
Well, that does just about bring us to the end of the show. Thank you for that, Gary. Thank you everyone for watching and listening and sticking out this long. Check out our channel partner Mandrews95, who you can see drinking something at the moment. He's got some quality.
It's a fat grape.
Fanta grape. Not only does he drink,
There you go.
not only does he drink
A man of
Fanta,
taste.
he also plays a lot of Call of Duty and a bunch of other games. So do head over to his Facebook page and check him out at Mandrews95.